The Chinese economy is often viewed as a flawlessly engineered machine, executing a singular central plan. But the underlying institutions are fracturing. Severe cracks are spreading through the system, and the economic engine driving global growth is breaking down. Before we examine the forces compelling Beijing to dismantle and rebuild its entire economy, take a second to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Much of this instability traces back to the 1994 tax-sharing reform. That policy restructured fiscal relations by shifting revenue authority upward to the central government, while leaving local municipalities with the administrative responsibility for growth. Starved of official funding, local governments were forced to find their own ways to pay for infrastructure and rapid urbanization. The resulting expansion was driven from the bottom up. Local officials, operating with significant autonomy, made high-stakes entrepreneurial decisions to hit growth targets and ensure their own political survival. To fund that regional growth, local governments created local government financing vehicles, or LGFVs. These off-budget entities allowed them to borrow massive amounts of cash through shadow banking channels, hidden from official government debt statistics. This chart shows the multi-trillion RMB scale of local government special refinancing bond issuance across various provinces. Trillions have been borrowed to fuel industrial investment. This implicit off-budget debt represents a systemic vulnerability resting right underneath the national economy. Simultaneously, China's demographic structure is reaching a critical juncture. The national fertility rate has dropped to 1.0, and over 15% of the population is now aged 65 or older. The elderly dependency ratio has risen from 8-to-1 in 2010 to 4-to-1 today. The supply of cheap, abundant labor that made China the factory of the world is rapidly vanishing. A low-cost, export-driven manufacturing base cannot be sustained when the workforce is disappearing, and local governments subsidizing infrastructure are carrying trillions in hidden debt. While local governments were piling up debt, private technology companies experienced explosive growth. By tapping into domestic and international venture capital, these firms bypassed the traditional state-controlled banking system. Tech titans built integrated corporate empires. By expanding into e-commerce, social networking, healthcare, and digital payments, figures like Jack Ma amassed resource power that operated largely outside of state oversight. Companies like Tencent established alternate power centers, developing digital public services and forming alliances with senior political elites. For the central government, these independent ecosystems represented a challenge to their monopoly on authority. Local financial instability, a shrinking workforce, and the rise of independent corporate power have placed Beijing's ultimate control under simultaneous pressure. Beijing is reclaiming authority to execute a coordinated economic pivot. To counter the demographic decline, the government is accelerating Made in China 2025. This strategy is designed to move the country up the value chain, shifting from low-cost assembly toward technology-intensive manufacturing. China is dominating strategic sectors through scale and vertical integration. By linking raw materials directly to automated production, they are attempting to mitigate the loss of human labor. In sectors like battery systems, industrial robotics, and solar panels, Chinese firms are resetting global cost curves. They are capturing the infrastructure of the future by scaling automated production faster than any other nation. This dominance in high-tech manufacturing serves as a survival mechanism, intended to automate the economy before the demographic collapse becomes insurmountable. To manage the local debt crisis and insulate the economy from global shocks, Beijing introduced the dual circulation strategy. The internal loop boosts domestic consumption to stabilize the economy, allowing the state to absorb local debt while reducing foreign reliance. This pairs with an external loop, maintaining global dependence on China's exports, while systematically removing foreign technology from domestic supply chains. Dual circulation acts as a defensive fortress, protecting a fragile financial interior while keeping the rest of the world dependent on Chinese production. To ensure that technology serves the state rather than individual billionaires, Beijing has accelerated the drive for common prosperity. This policy forces private enterprise to align innovation strictly with national security and state objectives. By reining in tech giants, the central government has reasserted its role as the ultimate arbiter of economic power. Common prosperity ensures that no corporation or local government can ever rival the central state's authority again. China is attempting to transform from a decentralized, debt-fueled manufacturing hub into a highly centralized, high-tech fortress. The global risks are significant. If the local debt swaps fail, or the demographic cliff proves too steep, the resulting financial shockwave will impact the entire global economy. If these strategies succeed, China will command the global green transition, artificial intelligence, and advanced computing on its own terms. Nations will no longer just buy Chinese debts. They will be forced to buy into a technological and infrastructural ecosystem managed entirely in Beijing. China has moved toward designing the world's technological and infrastructural backbone. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown valuable, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the global economy.